The Las Vegas night was supposed to belong to George Russell. The pace was there, the confidence was there, and for the first time in a long time, Mercedes looked genuinely capable of putting their car on pole. Fastest in P3, fastest in Q1, fastest in Q2, the kind of form that teams wait months, sometimes years, to see. And yet, just when it mattered most, everything collapsed in the blink of an eye. Russell wasn't beaten by Lando Norris on pure performance. He wasn't outraced, he wasn't outclassed. He was betrayed by his own machinery. There was no warning, no early signs, no radio panic. Just a sudden, brutal failure that hit him at the worst possible moment of the entire weekend. "I had a steering issue in Q3, he said afterwards, the frustration hidden behind a controlled tone that couldn't fully mask the truth. In reality, it wasn't just a steering issue. It was a near-complete power steering collapse, the kind that makes a car undrivable at 300 kilometers per hour, the kind that could force a driver to stop on track, the kind that destroys a pole lap before it even begins. Russell himself admitted he almost pulled over, and that one sentence says everything. Imagine pushing for pole in the most chaotic qualifying of the season, the track soaked earlier by heavy rainfall, the surface already low grip, drivers calling it one of the worst conditions they've ever experienced, and suddenly your steering decides to fight you head-on. The car no longer responds naturally. The wheel becomes heavy, inconsistent, unpredictable. It's like wrestling a metal beast in the middle of a desert storm. And for Russell, it happened right as he was preparing to attack the track for the one lap that could have changed his entire weekend. He didn't just lose momentum, he lost control. Not in the sense of spinning or crashing, but in the sense that an F1 driver becomes helpless when the very tool he relies on, the steering, refuses to cooperate. The onboard footage hasn't even been released fully, but from everything Russell said, one thing is clear. Pole position wasn't just possible, it was likely. Mercedes had the pace, and Russell had the confidence. Yet Q3 destroyed both in seconds. What makes this moment even more dramatic is the context. Mercedes finally looked alive again. The car had balance. The tires were switching on. Russell himself was driving with the kind of commitment that reminded fans of his early Williams days, fearless, sharp, precise. And just when he reached the final stage where only a perfect lap mattered, a mechanical glitch erased everything. He climbed out of the car knowing P4 was lucky. Yes, lucky, because with the steering fighting him, even finishing the lap was a challenge. "I feel fortunate to have qualified P4, he said. Coming from a driver who has fought for poles and wins, that sentence alone reveals how serious the problem was. Drivers don't call a session fortunate unless something went seriously wrong. And something did. The conditions were already brutal. The Las Vegas surface, already notorious for low grip, became a nightmare under rainfall. Every driver struggled, everyone slid, every lap looked like a balance between precision and survival. But Russell, he thrived. He controlled the chaos better than most. He liked the challenge, he later said. That's what makes this even more painful. The moment he finally had a chance to extract everything from the car, it answered back with failure. There's a deeper layer to this entire story, one that fans and analysts have quietly pointed out. Whenever Mercedes looks close to pole, something stops them. A setup miscalculation, a tire warm-up issue, a yellow flag, a small mistake, or now, a mechanical failure. This time, Russell didn't hide it. He didn't sugarcoat it. He said the truth out loud. The steering failed. The car held him back. The chance slipped away. It wasn't the first time this season Mercedes missed an opportunity, but this one hurt more because the pace was real. Russell had beaten top drivers through every stage of qualifying. He didn't arrive in Q3 hoping for luck. He arrived expecting a fight for pole. And yet, instead of battling Norris, he was battling his own steering column. Drivers know when something big slips through their fingers. Russell felt it instantly. That's why he called it a missed opportunity. That phrase wasn't casual, it was emotional. It was disappointment wrapped in professionalism. It was a driver admitting this should have been more. And Mercedes knows it too. They understand the significance when their fastest qualifying of the season ends in what could have been. What adds even more tension is the fact that Russell was calm, almost too calm when explaining the issue. A driver only responds like that when he knows the problem wasn't his fault, when he knows he did everything right, and when he knows the team has to look inwards, not outwards, for answers. What's even more interesting is that this wasn't a normal steering vibration, or minor stiffness, or a setup imbalance. He described it like a power steering failure, extremely rare in modern F1 cars, especially in qualifying. That means the issue was severe enough to make the car almost undrivable at speed. And yet, he brought it home. That alone says a lot about his control under pressure. As the session ended, fans didn't see frustration. They saw acceptance, not because Russell didn't care, but because he knew pole was worth nothing if the car wasn't safe to drive. A steering failure at Las Vegas speeds could have ended in a crash. He chose to survive the session instead of risking everything. That's the mindset of a mature driver, a team leader, someone who understands the long game. Yet the contrast remains. Mercedes had the fastest car all night, until it mattered. Russell delivered every single time until the car didn't. And the truth he dropped afterwards wasn't explosive, wasn't angry, wasn't emotional. It was calm, too calm. The kind of calm that says, "I did my part, now it's your turn to fix yours." The rain might have created chaos, the conditions might have been horrendous, but the deciding factor wasn't the track, wasn't the weather, wasn't the competition, it was the car. And that's the real story. Russell didn't lose pole. Mercedes lost it for him. And deep inside the garage, they know it. Because drivers don't forget nights like these. They don't forget when the pace was there. They don't forget when everything aligned. They don't forget when they were ready for pole and robbed of it by failure, not competition. And that's why tonight, as the paddock quiets down and the lights fade over Las Vegas, one thing is very clear. This qualifying wasn't just another session. It was a moment where Russell showed everything: control, precision, speed, and honesty. And Mercedes showed once again that even when the driver is ready, the machinery sometimes isn't. Before you click away, I want to hear your take on this mess. Do you think George Russell was genuinely robbed of pole, or was this just another chapter in Mercedes' long list of qualifying disasters? Drop your opinion in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want more raw, unfiltered F1 drama like this, make sure you smash the subscribe button, hit like, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next Formula Storm breakdown. Trust me, the next twist in this season is coming fast. Stay ready.